even at his golf courses, which I believe are still shuttered in New Jersey and vicinity. He was watching the draft last night. He was not in one of the 12 screens when they showed the Philadelphia Eagles pick. He, of course, is the great Ron Jaworski. Jaws, how are you, man?
Tony, always a pleasure being on your show. It's always the highlight of my week and my year to be with you, and especially after day one of the NFL draft.
You're reading that exactly as I read it and sent it to you earlier this morning, Jaws.
You trained me well, Tony.
I can see you got the email, Tony.
Wait, last time I saw Ron, we were at the Super Bowl at his great cigar party up there on the roof deck. What a great party. We were smoking cigars and drinking some quality product, Ron.
Yes, it was, once again, Coach Ditka and I host a cigar party at the Super Bowl every year. Can't wait to be in Tampa again this year. We raise money for our individual foundations, and it was the most successful cigar party we've had of the 11 that we've had. So we appreciate your support. We look forward to doing it again next year.
But that roof deck on that bill, what was the name of the building there in Miami Beach?
Oh, man, I can't remember yesterday anymore, but it was spectacular.
It was, go up in the elevator.
Bay.
Yeah, I mean, it was spectacular. I mean, it looked like Cliff Kingsbury would have been excited with that. He would have said, wow.
I wish I could take credit for being the guy that did the site surveying. I had nothing to do with it. So that's probably why it was so beautiful.
It was.
It was called the Paramount.
The Paramount building.
The synapses aren't what they used to be, Tony, but it was the Paramount, a fantastic facility. Great condos there, and boy, the pools and the services were outstanding.
Phenomenal stuff.
And we always appreciate you stopping by and adding some levity to the event.
Well, I just come there for the drinks and just meet the
cigars, right? Yeah, to meet all the people.
And then to see Steve Levy and all the other ESPN folk that I run into. People from every network. Everybody's at the party.
It is. It's kind of amazing, and there's always these people in the media that go to all the parties. And they talk about who's there. And after we left Miami, I was reading some of the articles. They said there were more celebrities at the Ditka Jaws cigar party than any party during the Super Bowl week.
Absolutely,
so
you're absolutely right.
Cool. Yeah.
No, that's true.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's true, because a lot of these parties get a couple of guys in there, and then they stand around for an hour and says, I'm getting the hell out of here, and they leave. These people didn't want to leave your party.
No, we have too much fun, Tony.
Even Robin didn't want to leave. She was pissed when they shut us down, and at least they didn't throw us out like a lot of places do.
Well, it was 4 a.m.
Well, that's true, too. Yeah. Ron Jaworski. All right, Ron, you watched the draft. You've been around. You know all the quarterbacks are off the board. It was going crazy. Before we get to the Eagles pick, and obviously that's a local flavor, but Tua going exactly where a lot of people thought they would. Did that surprise you that he went that? I mean, everybody knew Burrow was the one, but Miami was supposed to be making moves, wheeling and dealing, and they weren't going to take him. They were going to trade down and get a whole bunch of picks. Did that surprise you at all?
None whatsoever. I thought Tua was the guy the Dolphins had targeted all along, that they would do whatever they could to get him. It was pretty clear that Joe Burrow was going to go number one, and if we'd be having this conversation a year ago, I probably would have said that Tua was the best quarterback in the draft, but the injury certainly set him back, and I think that, that was about the only concern about his game. And you know what we love to do this time of year when we look at all these young quarterbacks, and what people always ask me is, well, who does he remind you of, Mm-hmm. And, you try to come up with somebody that had a great career, and you study and say, yeah, it reminds me of this guy. But clearly what I thought Tua, and a number of other guys that do this for a living, analyze the quarterbacks and break them down, the comparison was to Drew Brees. And normally it's kind of a flippant kind of comparison, but I really believe in this one. To me, that's a pretty strong comparison when I think of the career Drew Brees has had, and I'm saying Tua reminds me of him, but he has that same kind of skill set. Outstanding vision, anticipation, sees the field with great clarity, just enough mobility to move around and open up some windows and passing lanes, and pinpoint accuracy. So that's kind of the most overlooked aspect of a quarterback. Can he be accurate on a repetitive basis? He doesn't have a gun like Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, but his arm is just like Drew Brees. Good enough.
One of the quarterbacks that didn't get a whole lot of discussion, at least not as much as Tua and, of course, Burrow, was Herbert. He goes to the Chargers at 6. I wanted you to give me your take on the fit there with the Chargers. And then what did you think of the move up the board a little bit by the Packers to take Love out of Utah State when they've got Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I do have some concerns about Herbert. To me, he's one of those guys with a high ceiling and a low floor, and that means boom or bust. When I looked at his tape, I did not see the repetitive accuracy. And as I said a moment ago, I think that's a critical part of the evaluation. Some guys, you can put a highlight reel together, and wow, you look at 20 or 30 throws, and you go, oh, yeah, he can make all the throws. But you have to look at hundreds of throws, and when you look at hundreds of throws, what I saw was a guy that missed too many gimmies, too many easy throws. And that's why I was concerned about Herbert, even as a first-round pick. I think he's got a big upside. He gets coached really hard and coached really well, and the mechanics get more consistent. I think the ceiling is there. He could really, he could really take off. But I think he had, in my opinion, a little bit of a boom or bust, on his resume to me via my film study. You mentioned Jordan Love, and I think it's pretty clear the Green Bay Packers loved him. They moved up to get him. They believe, Aaron Rodgers is getting at the end of the road at 37 years old, and I think when Favre was drafted, Favre was like 35 maybe when they drafted Aaron Rodgers. So you can see the Packers are looking down the road, and hopefully they can make a smooth transition from Rodgers to Love. It wasn't really smooth from Favre to Rodgers, but they had two talented quarterbacks.
Yeah, the thing that Harry mentioned, of course, in the first, that they took him in the first round, and so that's going to anger Aaron Rodgers. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is still the quarterback, and this kid's going to have to sit there. Mahomes sat for a year. He's going to sit 1 or 2 years.
I know,
Why
but
would Aaron Rodgers have a problem?
Well, it doesn't help Aaron Rodgers win games this year. That's all. That's my.
Well, I think that's the way people look at it. Well, they should have, they got a wide receiver. They should have helped Aaron. Yada yada yada. But I think clearly when you get a guy and within an organization that you feel is the guy, you've got to do what you've got to do. And they moved up to get him. They feel that they can make another transition to a decade-long quarterback. I'm hopeful and confident Aaron Rodgers will accept this and he'll work with the guy, not like Brett Favre just kind of kicked Aaron Rodgers to the side and said, hey, I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about me and my job. I've always kind of felt a little bit different in this. When I came in the league with the Los Angeles Rams, there was a quarterback there by the name of John Hadle. And John Hadle accepted me and helped me and worked with me to become a better quarterback. And I pushed that down the road probably 14, 15 years when the Eagles drafted Randall Cunningham to eventually replace me. And the lessons I learned from John Hadle were the lessons that I taught Randall Cunningham. I embraced him. I knew he was going to be the guy of the future, and I worked with him. And I think it had a positive effect on his career. So it'll be interesting to see how Aaron Rodgers responds to Jordan Love when you consider how Brett Favre treated him.
Yeah, and you look at what happened. I mean, they weren't first-round picks, but the litany of quarterbacks that, Aaron Rodgers has had a bunch of guys up there who could have been the next guy if something happened and he got hurt. And most of the guys they brought in there, when Aaron Rodgers was out of the game, even for a few plays, couldn't get it done.
Yeah, they've had guys there, second, third-round picks that got opportunities. But, when you get an opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. As we hear it 100 times, it's a not-for-long league. So when you get that opportunity, you have to take advantage of it, or teams move on rather quickly. And, we're gonna see how Love will play out. I mean, I like the fact that he's not going to be forced to play. He can sit back, and he mentioned Patrick Mahomes behind an Alex Smith. And I don't know if there's a better guy around to understanding of the quarterback position than Andy Reid. Andy has, worked with quarterbacks, developed quarterbacks, and he's done an outstanding job with them. So, we'll see how this plays out. But I thought Mahomes sitting for a year helped him understand the mentality of the NFL, what big boy football is. It's a huge transition from the college game to the National Football League. And I like when the pressure is taken off a young player to have to perform in that rookie year.
Ron, C.D. Lamb fell right into Jera's lap last night on the yacht.
Guys, I'm in Philly. I was crying.
I'll tell you what, that's a pretty dynamic offense they're putting together.
Yeah, man, you talk about the greatest show on turf, Dick Vermeil's the Rams in '99-2000. That may be in jeopardy right now. And as I'm watching the draft, and being in Philadelphia, I'm very familiar with what the Eagles want to do, and everyone's asking what's going to happen. And I'm looking at, I said, there's really three wide receivers that I would call the first tier of wide receivers, which Lambs and Ruggs and Judy, I thought of them at top 10 guys. And all of a sudden I'm watching this draft. I'm saying, I know the Eagles want to get a guy. I know they like 3 or 4 guys in that second tier of first-round picks. But I'm going, CeeDee Lamb's dropping. I mean, he's dropping. Could he go all the way to 21? Then I'm looking, I see Dallas at 17. I see Atlanta there at 16. I'm going, oh, Howie's got to be on the phone. He's got to be trying. Howie Roseman, GM, loves to wheel and deal. He's damn good at it. I'm thinking he is not going to let CeeDee Lamb drop to the Dallas Cowboys. He couldn't make the deal. He drops to the Cowboys, and I went, oh, my goodness. What an offensive machine they are going to have. I mean, 2 proficient wide receivers, arguably the best running back in Ezekiel Elliott, a solid offensive line. Dak Prescott will throw for over 5,000 yards this year, and he eventually will get that big contract. If the Cowboys can probably play just a little bit of defense, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
And that hurts for me to say that.
No, I hear you. You're absolutely right, Ryan. Well, the thing that bugs me, and because I'm guessing like everybody else, I'm not a draft expert. I watch football forever. But the bottom line is that the assumption is because the Eagles moved ahead to get Dallas Goedert a few years ago and kept them from going to the Cowboys, that's something that has to happen every single year. I know you try, and apparently he tried, but this is the thing that I want to get your take on this, because when they tried to move up, according to Howie Roseman, that they didn't get any bites from the people who were the teams that were ahead of the Cowboys, and therefore they couldn't make a deal. But if that's the case, then so you're basically admitting that you wouldn't have taken the guy you did if you didn't drop, and if you didn't get the pick you wanted, so you then just had to settle for Rager.
Well, it's always going to be, I mean, that's how, Joe Sixpack is going to look at it. Everyone thinks CeeDee Lamb was there. You got to do everything you can to get him. Well, it worked with Dallas Goedert. It doesn't work all the time. And we all now know, and Tony, you and I have been doing radio shows since the late 70s. I don't want to date ourselves, but we have seen how this league evolves all the time, year to year, decade to decade. And I just think now it is so important to hit on these draft choices. You've got to hit on the draft picks to build your football team. Then when you build your team and you have a couple holes, then you go the free agency route. Howie Roseman, he wheeled and dealed to get Carson Wentz. I mean, that was one of the all-time deals of all time to get to that spot and get the guy he had targeted. Moved from like 12 to 7 to 3 to 1. And Howie's, now Howie has that reputation, and rightfully so, because he gets very antsy when he's sitting around not making a deal. I love that part about him. He's always trying to make his football team better. But I just think in this situation, he probably would have had to give up too much to get in that position.
Hey, Ron, how surprised were you when Jefferson is sitting there on the board and the Eagles took Rager instead?
I was surprised. I thought Jefferson would be the guy. And like I said, there were you had Ayuk in that group.
Mm-hmm.
There were some guys. Obviously with Jefferson in there, there were some guys. As I said, the lower. The second tier of the first round. There are 4 or 5 guys that, what do you like, chocolate or vanilla? The strawberry or Neapolitan. It depends what you like. And I thought that Jefferson, to me, was the more polished guy of that whole group.
Safer pick.
A safer pick, yeah. And then everyone's got reasons why. Well, he only played in the slot, didn't play outside. I think that's a bunch of crap. If a guy can run routes, catch the football, and be one-on-one coverage, I don't care where you line him up, inside, outside, motion, Z, slot, hip formation, whatever you want to do. If he can play, he can flat out play. And if you're a coach, you coach him to play at any position. You don't say, oh, this guy can only play in a slot. That's just stupid. Anyone thinks and uses that for some excuse. It's using it just as an excuse. So, I think Jefferson, is a guy that, although he played it mostly in the slot at LSU, I think the guy with his talent could line up and play anywhere. And by the way, Rager is a very good football player. And I'm not going to condemn the pick. I think the guy's going to make a significant contribution. Right now he's a 21st best football player in the draft, and you got to be damn good to be picked at that high. And when a lot of teams look at you and evaluate you, so what he brings, and I think, you never know how things play out in the draft room and in preparation. Doug Peterson loves the gimmicks and gadgets kind of play, jet sweeps and all the kind of the cool gimmickries that we as fans like. And I think when you look at Rager, that's what he brings you. He brings you a lot of that kind of cool stuff, So I think that's one of the reasons why Doug liked him.
Ron Jaworski, not being able. Can you play golf on your own golf course?
Now, hey, we are closed down, Tony. Shut down by rules of the governor, the mandate of the governor of New Jersey, Murphy, and the governor of Pennsylvania. We cannot open our golf courses.
Harry Mays.
It's an outrage, Ron.
Harry's apoplectic. You own a golf course and you can't even play on your own golf course?
Yeah, but Ron, they're playing in New York, which is the epicenter. They're opening public golf courses on Long Island this weekend.
Do you know how many letters and phone calls I've made to the governors already? You know what? And I have great respect for what they have to do, but I watch TV, I'm watching coronavirus, every special that's on, I say, oh, get out in the sunshine,
right.
Get some exercise. Well, what the hell do you think people do on a golf course?
And they socially distance, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I got 200 acres. I just can't understand it. You can't go to the dentist, but you can get an abortion. I mean, some of the things just don't make sense.
I usually go to the dentist to get my abortion. I got a multi-purpose guy. It's like the old Veterans Stadium.
On too many tangents, guys.
No, but I'm saying, like, you're allowed to go out and walk on a hike on a trail. The trails are packed with people. They're not 6 feet apart. On a golf course, you can be 6 feet apart.
But don't go to a golf course.
Right.
It's an absolute outrage.
Yeah.
I'm getting the hell. Can you take your golf courses and move them out of New Jersey to a more favorable state, Ron?
I guess I probably would. You have no idea how much money I'm losing on a monthly basis right now, owning 7 golf courses with 0 income.
Now people are going to say, "Oh, now we're going to have to do a
GoFundMe,
a GoFundMe, or some sort of radiothon for Ron Jaworski."
Hey, we'll work it.
Hey, Tony, I may call you, man. I may you headed up the fundraiser for me. But I can tell you this: when we do open, it'll be like playing Augusta National because you won't find a divot, a ball mark.
That's right.
And the weather's been good for grass growing because I'm looking at overhead shots.
Yeah.
And we've had a cool spring, a lot of rain, but it looks like the course is
lush.
They're lush right now.
Oh yeah, things are going to be beautiful. The good thing is, the government did provide a stimulus package, so I'm able to keep at least my golf course maintenance people working, cutting the grass, doing the aerification, doing the top dressing, all the things that you have to do this time of year, so you have pristine conditions when you get into the season. So, unfortunately, my favorite place are my 7 Tap Taverns, which are the bars and all the clubs where I like to hang out with all my friends and guests. So
Riley's Pub.
I do miss that. I do miss sitting. I would have been last night. I would have been sitting at one of the bars watching a draft and arguing with people.
Wait a minute, you couldn't go in your own bar in one of your own golf courses and turn the TV on and watch it by yourself?
I do not. I'm quarantined, Tony. I'm playing by the rules. I'm the preacher for be safe. Let's kick the shit out of this coronavirus and let's move on. So,
wow, he's fired up.
I love this.
He is fired up right now.
Football mentality, Tony.
That's right.
Ron Jaworski breaking it down. All right, tonight, I just saw Adam Schefter tweeted about that some GMs are telling him that the second round may have, usually there's 7 to 8 guys that may have gone in the first round. He said there's 25 players still on the board that could be graded as first-round talent. That's how deep this draft is.
Yeah, I would agree. There are a lot of really good players left. This was a draft that was particularly deep in wide receivers, offensive linemen, and I think what you're going to see now, and as I look at the evolution of the game, if you don't have an abundance of secondary players that could cover today's wide-open gunslinging style offense, you are way behind the curve. So I think you're going to see a run on athletic linebackers that could cover these backs out the backfield, and secondary players. Corners are just becoming more and more valuable.
Now we just got this other note in from Adam Schefter. The Rams are restructuring Jared Goff's contract to free up $7 million. And so that's going to happen. You move money around, and you got to take care of other guys.
Yeah, absolutely. They know that, and the Rams made some mistakes in giving away a lot of money a couple years ago. But the mistake is they didn't win a Super Bowl. They tried to win a Super Bowl, and if you win the Super Bowl by spending up money, you're if it doesn't happen, it was a mistake. And unfortunately for the Rams, it didn't work out. They went after that Vince Lombardi trophy. They didn't get it. Now you got to pay a little bit of a price for it.
Yeah, and there's quickly before we have to break here, Ron, but the Dolphins obviously look like they did well. Certainly the San Diego, I can still call them the Chargers, drafted well. I mean, there's a lot of teams that really did good work with their picks this year.
Yeah, I thought the Miami Dolphins had a really good draft. Quietly, the Jacksonville Jaguars, because they didn't really get the guys with the high persona and profile. I think Doug Marrone did a terrific job with their draft down there. Clearly, Brian Flores in Miami, that team played really competitive football the second half of last season. Him and Chris Greer have done a good job of building that roster. They got good young players. They're going to get a running back in tonight. I believe there are probably three really strong running backs that I think will make a significant contribution as rookies in this league. So I think the Dolphins clearly get a running back tonight.
Ron Jaworski, he breaks it down. Golf, bar talk, politics, everything in one segment. You're not getting that anywhere else. Although that wasn't political. That was a guy who has businesses in his state.
My business.
Right. Damn right, man.
Hey, Tony. You know I'm pretty an affable guy. I love people. I had to lay off 240 people.
Wow.
Yeah, 7 golf courses when the governors both said, Wolf says shut down, Murphy says shut down. I'm a people person. And these are not people that are wealthy. These are people that are going week to week with their paycheck. They work their butt off. I love them. And that's why we got to get this country back to work. It's people like that are really being hurt. And when I had to tell 240 people you're getting laid off, you have no idea how that hurt myself, and my wife is very active, and my family's involved in our business. That hurts us. So there's a personal side to it as well.
Absolutely, Ron. Everybody that knows you, man, whether you're in California, Miami, or wherever you are,
or wherever they pay me,
wherever they pay you to go, except New Jersey, and you decided to settle down there, and now you're regretting it all these years later. You could have been back in Los Angeles having a beautiful Hollywood Hills major condo out there overlooking the Bay.
Are the golf courses open in L.A.?
I think some in Sacramento, they're all open, I'm reading.
All right. See, I made a mistake then.
It's outrageous.
Yes, you did, Ron.
And the ones in Florida, I think, are mostly
some of them.
Some of them.
Not in Palm Beach County.
Try not to. You're making them. Robin, why do you have to keep bringing this stuff up?
I know this. I don't need to be reminded.
Harry's trying to sneak on his course out there in Montgomery County.
They had a news chopper over there taking video of people playing golf.
At 1912?
Yeah, it was
you know that
outrageous.
course, don't you, Ron?
Big Brother is watching.
Yeah.
Oh,
you got any drones flying over or shooting you down if you go outside and hit a ball?
You know how you kill coronavirus? I said it already. Get out in the sunshine, exercise, be healthy.
What sunshine? What sunshine?
Might be nice tomorrow.
It's shining somewhere.
Right.
Hey, Ron, always great to talk to you, bro.
Ron.
Thanks, love you guys, man. Be safe, okay?
The great Ron Jaworski, ladies and gentlemen. Let's put your hands together. Give him a roaring round of applause.
It's going to be 66 tomorrow, partly sunny, Tony.
Oh, I thought you said Ron Jaworski was going to be 66 tomorrow.
No.
I thought it was supposed to rain all weekend.
Well, not according to this. Sunday it's going to rain.